Good day. Hello, Sister Jeannie and CJ. And I'm waiting for some other Europeans to come on. Today is Sunday, May 4th, 2025. Time goes by. We're going to continue talking about about Freemasonry. We're going to talk about the Blue Lodge today and what that is. I'm also curious. It seems like the concept of a Karen, you know what a Karen is in the United States? Is that only a U.S. thing? I'm curious. That's why I want to speak with the Europeans. Do they have Karens in Europe and in other countries? I was just wondering is that a result of that false or un-Catholic feminism. All right. So I haven't gotten too much response yet, unless somebody put it on the chat about whether or not to do the lesson first or after Mass. So I'm going to continue with what I'm doing until otherwise. Forgive me for hacking. I'm still doing that. But there was a couple of things that I wanted to do at recommendations from others. And actually, Sister Jeannie is involved in both of them. One request, which I am going to do, is I'm going to dedicate this Mass today to the reparation of sins committed against the Immaculate Heart of Dea Maternam Nostrae. And I'm going to do it if she can help remind me each of the first Fridays and first Saturdays. First Fridays and first Saturdays. And you can and should do it individually, but it should be done publicly as well. So thank you for that, sister. One other thing that I'm going to read before I start the morning prayers is a prayer that Sister Jeannie shared with me and my daughter, I believe. And it reads as follows. O my Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, please come into my heart. By thy power, O Deum, draw me to thyself and grant me charity with filial fear. Keep me, O ineffable love, from every evil thought. Warm and kindle me with thy sweetest love, and every suffering will seem light to me. O my Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, please help me in all of thoughts, words, and actions. O my Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, I love thee. My Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, I love thee. It's a very beautiful prayer, and definitely recommend saying that before you begin a Catholic contemplation. Good day, Greg, and hello, Denise. And I can't, let's see. Oh, okay, thank you for that clarification. That was a prayer from St. Catherine of Siena. So I can't give credit to Sister Jeannie for making it up, but she is capable of such a task or accomplishment. All right, let's begin with the Good Day Rising prayers, then we'll talk about Freemasonry. And I had a Freemason comment on my page yesterday. He didn't say much, though. He said, "Hello, Master." And I thought it might be Anonymous Catholic because he thinks I'm a Mason. But I said, no, I'm not a master. I'm a servant of the Most Holy Trinity. All right, so let's begin. In nomine Dei, matronam nostra, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Most Holy Trinity, and in Catholic contemplation humbly venerate the Divine Family. Most Holy and Venerable Trinity, one Divine Family, I believe that Thou art here present. I venerate Thee with the deepest humility. I render to Thee with my whole heart the homage which is due to Thee. O Most Holy Trinity, relying on Thine infinite goodness and promises, I hope to obtain pardon of my sins, the help of Thy grace, and life everlasting, through the merits of Deum Iesum Christum et Deum matronam nostrae. O Most Holy Trinity, I love Thee above all things with my whole heart and soul, because Thou art all good and worthy of all love. I love my neighbor as myself for love of Thee, and I forgive all who have injured me, and ask pardon of all whom I have injured. Let us thank the Most Holy Trinity for the many graces that we receive, and offer ourselves and our sufferings up to heaven and for the souls in purgatory. O Most Holy Trinity, I most humbly thank Thee for all the favors Thou hast bestowed upon me to the present moment. It is again thanks to Thy bounty that I should live to see this day, and I desire to employ it solely in Thy service. I consecrate to Thee all my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings of this day. Sanctify them, that there may be none that is not animated by Thy love, or that would not tend to Thy greater glory. Let us make a firm resolution to avoid evil and to do good, and let us beg of the Most Holy Trinity the graces which are necessary to us. O Most Holy Trinity, Thou knowest my weakness, and that I am unable to do anything good without the help of Thy grace. Deny me not Thy grace, proportionate to my necessities. Give me strength to avoid everything which Thou forbiddest, to practice the good which Thou hast commanded, and enable me patiently to bear all the trials which it may please Thee to send me. O Dea Matronam Nostrae, Mother of God, I place myself under Thy protection. I throw myself with confidence into the arms of Thy compassion. Be to me, O Mother of Mercy, my refuge in distress and my consolation in suffering, now and at the hour of my death. O Most Holy Trinity, as envisioned by St. Lucia as the Most Holy Trinitarian Theophany, Dea Matronam Nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. I am heartily sorry for having offended Thee, and I detest all my sins, because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell, but most of all, because they offend Thee, O Most Holy Trinity, who are all good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve, with the help of Thy grace, to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. The Blue Lodge is Masonry's core. I'll stand over here. No, I'll stay right here. The heart of U.S. Freemasonry lies in 16,000 local lodges called Blue Lodges. Every Mason, regardless of rank, belongs to a Blue Lodge, where Freemasonry's basic activities take place. Now listen to this. In Lexington, Michigan, a fourth of its 2,500 residents, and again, this was back in the 50s, belong to Masonic organizations. 1/4 of all the residents. 21 of the town's 39 businessmen, 7 of 15 male high school teachers, 2 of 5 councilmen are Blue Lodge members. And that tells you why we're in the state we're in. And that's just one small town. There are 4 other Masonic orders in this town: Royal Arch, Royal and Select Masters, Knights Templar, and Eastern Star. Some Masons belong to all. Masons enjoy each other's company, sometimes find it useful in business. You think? Almost indispensable in social life. Quote, if there were suddenly no Masonic order in Lexington, said one, there would be a void hard to fill, unquote. And I would say, no, it would fill quickly once light was shined in. I had the experience of the effects of Masons in a small town in New Hampshire. When we first moved up, way up north near Canada, a very small town, and I announced that I was a priest and running. I had purchased some cabins to rent out, and we were going to live there and survive doing that. And constantly being lied to when they found out who I was and what I was about, and the deception that was just incredible. It's funny because they're very two-faced. They come off very friendly, but when the word gets put out to block these people or drive them out, they will. One example I just wanted to mention. One example was when I needed the driveway to the cabins, put some stone down so that it wouldn't be muddy. I asked for a quote, and I received a quote, and then halfway through the job, the company owner said to me, "Well, it looks like we're going to need more stone." And so basically, he wanted more money, and it wasn't even close to being, to what he quoted me. And you're stuck. What do you do? And this is the type of tactics that they use. So they force more money out of you. They don't do what they said they were going to do, etc. Okay, and at the Blue Lodge, when it's in function or whatever, there's a guard. So here they show Charles Coburn. The lodge is Tyler. Can't read that. Oh, bars entry to the meeting. The name Tyler is from Masons who tiled roofs on buildings, and thus hiding the building's interior. Okay, it's all about secrecy and hiding what they're doing. So how can something so benevolent have so much to hide? And then also pictured is a new Mason, Bill Reno. He's a factory clerk, and he's shows his first degree, entered apprentice apron to Charles Coburn. The white lambskin apron denotes innocence. And you can see the look on this guy's face like, do I really want to be here? I'm going to show it to you because it shows you where they begin. Let's see if let me do it that way. That's better. So he doesn't look like he's really super confident in what he's getting himself into. Then there's grandmasters and allied groups, okay? The following is a directory of active organizations in the U.S. allied to American Freemasonry. The list does not include again, this print is really hard. Possibly donors of affiliated groups whose memberships are limited to a small area. Degrees? I don't know. The purpose of each group and those who are eligible for membership are as described in italics. And I recommend you go there to the website, ourladyisgod.com. Onto the left side of the screen, scroll down, and you will see the part about Freemasonry. And there's this whole article, like I said. And there's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So there's literally, because there's two sides, over 50 allied groups. And it's really, it's crazy how many orders and groups there are. And their whole purpose is, again, controlling society and the people therein. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the order's history here and abroad. Throughout its 239-year history, and again, that was back in the 50s, Freemasonry found that its secrecy and rituals have both attracted members and aroused enemies. When cathedral building in England decreased in the mid-17th century, many guilds of stoneworkers, known as Freemasons, apparently because they were free to move from town to town, became purely social groups. They often initiated non-Masons as members, calling them speculative Masons. In 1717, 4 London lodges, composed largely of speculative Masons, formed the Grand Lodge of England. Okay, so the ones who formed it weren't actually stonemasons. That makes complete sense, and I guarantee you there was probably a Jew in the mix. After decades of religious bitterness, many Englishmen now found comfort in a moral system based on unchanging building tools, the compass, square, and level, and embraced an order that saw, quote-unquote, God as, quote-unquote, the grand architect. Wherever Englishmen went, they founded Masonic lodges. Enlightened Europeans, certain of human perfectibility and distrustful of ancient institutions like the Catholic Church, joined. Okay, I'm going to read that again. Wherever Englishmen went, they founded Masonic lodges. Enlightened Europeans, certain of human perfectibility and distrustful of ancient institutions like the Catholic Church, joined. Okay, so basically it was the enemy of the church. The enemies of the church joined this group. Among them were Frederick the Great, Voltaire, and Mozart. But the strange costumes, the aristocratic flavor of Freemasonry made the lower classes suspicious. In London, Masonic parades were stoned. The antagonism to the Roman Catholic Church that grew with the Enlightenment was reflected in anti-clerical attitudes of leading Masons. Now, this is from the article in Life, so it wasn't unknown. This aroused the hostility of Pope Clement XII, who in 1738 denounced the order, quote, "For if they were not acting ill, they would not have such a hatred of the light," unquote. Lodges in Catholic nations were closed, often by mobs. Today, though, a few Catholics are Masons. The Church has never reversed its historical position. Any Catholic who takes part in Masonic religious rituals or swears Masonic oaths of secrecy that could run counter to the Catholic concept of the confessional has automatically excommunicated himself. And here's a picture I'm going to show you. It's not that good, but it's called, and it's from a cartoon in Puck magazine in 1881, and it's called "Fight with Church." Let's put some light on there. There we go. And you can see the characters, the Pope and the Masons fighting. It's depicting an argument between the Pope and Masons. Puck magazine says they are like two, quote unquote, two old women scolding each other, unquote. Lots of noise, but no one is ever hurt. Not true. People's livelihoods are hurt constantly by this group. the Great Kidnapping Furor took place in 1826 over disappearance of William Morgan, a renegade Mason who was supposedly abducted and then killed by Masons. That's a whole story in and of itself. I would read that. That's very interesting. Harper's drawing shows Masons forcing Morgan into a coach. Yeah, they weren't too happy about that incident. Another one that people aren't too familiar with is Joseph Smith. You might want to look into him, the founder of the Latter-day people. It's based on Freemasonry, and he was supposedly, according to the accounts, run out of town for being with children that he shouldn't have been. Okay, let me... sorry, I lost my spot there. Okay. Brought to America by British colonists, Freemasonry, with its emphasis on brotherhood, enlisted many leading colonial Americans who saw in the order a vehicle for establishing the principles of liberty and equality. Very particular choice of words. Okay. Again, liberty is the ability to do whatever you want, vice included. Freedom is the ability to choose good and to do good. It's a difference. It grew into a patriotic movement, and some historians believe that the Indians, quote unquote, who took part in the Boston Tea Party were Masons from Boston's St. Andrew's Lodge. On the day of a lodge meeting, Masons were observed going into the Green Dragon Tavern, their meeting place. Indians were later seen leaving for the wharf. During the Revolutionary War, Washington, who said the order's goal was to promote the happiness of the human race, favored creation of military lodges for soldiers. There were at least 11 such lodges, the most famous being American Union Lodge No. 1 at Valley Forge. Washington helped initiate Lafayette into Masonry. Freemasonry's only U.S. crisis came in 1826 when an ex-Mason, William Morgan, disappeared after publishing his lodge secrets. Masons were accused of kidnapping Morgan, and in the resulting furor, an anti-Masonic party was formed. In 1832, the anti-Masonic party ran a presidential candidate, William Wirt, W-I-R-T, against Andrew Jackson, a Mason. Wirt carried the state of Vermont, but nothing else, and soon the anti-Masonic political party died out. After 1832, Freemasonry began to lose its political tinge, taking on the social and more emphatically fraternal character it has today. That's what they want you to believe. This helped its steady growth. There were 200,000 members when the Civil War began in 1861, quote-unquote Civil War. During the time, that's for Don. During the war, over 100 military lodges were formed. After the Civil War, they helped in the order's period of great growth. By 1900, there were over 800,000 members. And then it shows a couple of famous worshipful masters in the U.S., including Benjamin Franklin, George Washington. Franklin, first Grand Master of Pennsylvania, also joined Paris Lodge when he was ambassador to France, helped to initiate Voltaire in Masonry. Washington, worshipful master of Alexandria, Virginia Lodge, was a zealous Mason for 17 years. Some Masons started a movement to make him National Grand Master of all U.S. Masons, to be united in a national group. So that ends our talk today on Masons. We're going to get a little bit more into them tomorrow. It's not too much longer that we're going to deal with them. I really don't want to spend too much time other than knowing that their goals are not that of Catholicism, obviously. All right? Because as we know in Morals and Dogma, their god is Lucifer. All right, let's begin Mass. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apotei, oremus. O most holy Trinity, the Creator and Redeemer of all the faithful, grant to the souls of thy servants and handmaids the remission of all their sins, that they may obtain by loving prayers the forgiveness which they have always desired, who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family, forever and ever. Suscipe Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, hoc immaculatam hostium, quam ego indinius famulos tuus offeditibi Deum meum vivum et verum, pro innumerabilibus peccatis et offensionibus et negligentis meis, et pro omnibus circumstantibus, sed pro omnibus federibus, catholicorum vivis aquae defunctis, ut mihi et idis proficiat salutem. Deum qui humanae substantia dignitatem mirabilitur condidissima mirabilis reformaster do nobis perius atque tu veni mysterium, eis tu unitatis esse consortis communitatis nostrae, fieri notis es patecaps Dei Iesum Christum Filium, qui tegum vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Offerimus tibi Deum calicem saitaris tuum depacantis clementium ut respecto divine majestatis tuae, pro nostra et totius mundi salute, cum odore suavitatis ascendat. In spiritu humilitatis et in animo contrito suscipe amarate Deum Iesum Christum et sic fiat sacrificium nostrum et respecto tuo hodie, ut placiat tibi Deum matronum nostra Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Veni sanctificator Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum et sanctificite plata prosequendo et accepere hoc sacrificium tuo sanctum nomini praeparatum. Suscipe Sancta Trinitas concoblationum quam tibi afferemus a memoriam passiones, resurrectiones et descensiones Deum Iesum Christum. Et in honorem Deum matronam nostra et Papa Peter Sanctorum et Istorum et omnem Sanctorum, ut idis proficiat ad honorem nobis autem et salutem, et idi pro nobis intercedere in inter caelis, quorum amore magimus in teris peri nuclus Deum nostrum. Orate ut meum aquestum sacrificium acceptabile fiat per Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Suscipiat Deum Iesum Christum sacrificium de manibus tuis et laudam et gloriam nominis sui, ad utilitatem quoque nostrum totiusque ecclesiae suae sanctae. Deum vobiscum, et quoque apotei, sursum corda habemus ad Deum, gratias agamus Deum nostrum, dignum et justum est. Te igitur cometessimi matere patere Deum matronum nostra et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum per Deum Iesum Christum Filium tuum Deum nostra, supplices rogamus et petimus, uti accepta habeas, et sanctificas haec sanctam sacrificium ilibata. In primis quae tibi afferemus pro ecclesiam tuam sanctam catholicam, quam pacificare custodire ad honore, et regere dinedis toto orbiterarum atque catholicae. Memento Deum famulorum tuorum. We pray for the sick and the suffering. We especially pray for Katie Gage, RM, Neil and Earl Lively, Maria Josephina Mose, Brad, Letitia, Mindy, Clarette, Mark Jr., Barbara and Benedict Santa Croce, Mr. Nobody, Amble Tink, Robert Dasco Sr. and Jr., Luis Antonio Cantu, the Cantu and Duarte families, Michaela McLarnon and family, Sarah and Becky, Janelina, Lori, Aaron and family, Maria and the Lineweber family, the Kendrick, Shorten, Dosco, Nye, Tafur, Began, Wolf, and Kane families and their intentions. We pray that Mr. Nobody receives the funding and strength needed to complete the first Sede Vacantis Catholic Council office at Monastery of Illinois. We pray for an end to all governmental allowance for sanctioning of abortion, transgenderism, transhumanism, child trafficking of any kind, anywhere, place, or time. We pray for the establishment of a Catholic monarchy with a sound Catholic system of labor, human value, medium of exchange with no usury. And we pray for courageous men to step forward as leaders of this Catholic society. We ask Deum Matronum Nostra et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum with our Mass and our rosaries. Please force the world to make the Jews the sole focus of their anger, and please free us Catholics from all financial enslavement free us from all financial enslavement to these Jews. Please leave the Jews in Israel unprotected by any government or governmental entities. And thank you for answering our prayers. We ask for a reversal of the feminist ideology and a return to godly femininity. We ask that women come to understand that raising traditional Catholic families is a very high ideal and a necessity for sustaining a Catholic world. We ask that all pornography, the OnlyFans platform, and gay marriage, quote-unquote marriage, be banned. We ask that all terminology and wording referencing anti-Semitism be removed from all local, state, and federal laws of all governments around the world. And we pray for wisdom on how to grow good natural foods and raise animals naturally, and that corporations cease poisoning our food supplies with toxic ingredients. All this we ask in accordance with the Most Holy Trinity's divine will and intention. Et omnium circumstantiam coram tibi fides cognita est nota devotio pro quibus tibi offeremus. Veruque tibi offrantoc sacrificium laudis prosis visque omnibus, pro redemptione animarum suarum post pe salutis et calamitatis suae tibique redunt vota sua aeterno Deum vivo et vero. Communicantes et memoram venerantes in primis gloriosae semper Deum Matronam Nostrae et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum et Papa et Beatorum Martyrium Torum Papae Sancti Petri et Sancti Lucia et Sancti Jacinta et Sancti Francisco et Sancti Juan Diego et omnium sanctorum tuorum quorum meritis praecibusque cancedas ut in omnibus protectiones tuae monum et exilio per enim Christum Deum nostrum. Quam oblationem de Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum in omnibus consecratem acceptabilem efficere dineris ut nobis corpum et sanguinem fiat edictis mi filium tuum Deum Iesum Christum. Qui pridie quam pateretur capita panem sanctus aquanabilis manus suas, et elevatis oculis in calamate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum suum omnipotentem tibi gratias agens. Consecravit, fregit didique lumnis sui dicens accipit et mandocate ex hoc omnes. Hoc est enim corpus meum. Simili modo postquam ceremoniae est, accipiens et hunc preclarum calicem et sanctus aquanabilis manus suas sit in tibi gratias agens Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Consecravit, dedique lumnis sui dicens, accipite et bibite ex omnes. Hic est enim calic sanguinis mei, mysterium fidei, quae pro nobis et pro multis effundetur in remissionem peccatorum, haequo tescum perficeritis in meum facietis. Unde et memoris Deum nos servitui, sed plebs tua sancta justum Christum filium tuum Deum nostrae, tam beatae passiones nec non et eb in fedis, resurrectionis, sed et in caelos gloriosae ascensionis, offerimus praeclare majestati tuae de tuis donis actatis, supra quae propitio axareno vutur respicieri digneris. Supplices tergamus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum ibe hic perfecte per manus tuum, ut quod ex hoc autaris participatione sacrosanctum Deum Filium tuum, corpus et sanguinum subsenimus, omni sanctificatione caelesia gratia Dei per amor per Christum Deum nostrae. We pray for those who have died. We especially pray for Anne Scott, for whom this Mass is being offered. Ipsis Deum et omnibus in Christum quis gentibum, locum refieri educis et pacis, ut indulges te proclamar per Christum Deum nostrum, per quem hic omnia Deum Iesum Christum semper bona creas, sanctificas, vivicas, consecratis et praestas nobis. Per ipsum et cum ipso et in ipso, est ibi Deum Matrum omnipotenti in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, omnis honor et gloria. Ave Dea, Matronum nostrae, gratia plena Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum tecum, sanctam tuum in mulieribus, Dea Matronum nostrae, Materam Deum Iesum Christum, misericordia nobis peccatoribus nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Libera nos, quae sumus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum ab omnibus malis, praeteritis, praesentibus et futuris et intercedente beata et gloriosa semper Dea Matronam nostrae, cum Papa Petrum Sanctorum et omnibus sanctis da propitios pacem mendibus nostris, ut ope misericordiae tuae aduiti et peccato simus semper liberi et ab omni perturbatione securi. Periendum Deum nostrum, Iesum Christum Filium tuum Deum nostrum. Qui tecum vivit et reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per aeternam. Pax Deum Iesum Christum sed semper vobiscum, et quoque apotei. Aecam extio et consecratio corporis et sanguinis Deum Iesum Christum fiat excipientibus nobis in ad salutem aeternam. Pax tecum et quoque apotei. Deum Iesum Christum, qui ex voluntate Deum Matronam nostrae, quabrante Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per mortem tuam unum vivipicasti, libera me per hoc sacrosanctum corpus et sanguinum tuum ab omnibus iniquitatibus meis, et universis malis, et fac me tui semper in harare mandatis, et atinum quam separare permittas, qui cum eodem Deum Matronam nostrae et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, vivis et reinam aeternam. Perceptio corporis tui Deum Iesum Christum, quod ego in dinius sumere praesimo non mihi proveniat in judicium et condemnationem, sed pro tui pietate prosit mihi ad tutumentum et esse corporis, et ad medelam percipiendam, qui vivis et reinas cum Deum Matronam nostrae, in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Panem celestem excipiem in nomen Deum Iesum Christum invocabo. Deam matronam nostrum non sundinius, ut in tis autete meis in tanti corpus napatronum mea. Deum Iesum Christum non sundinius, ut in tis autete meis in tanti corpus napatronum mea. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum non sundinius, ut in tis autete meis in tanti corpus napatronum mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. Quidura tribum Deum Iesum Christum pro omnibus quaero tubuit mihi, calicem saetaris accipium in nomen Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum immocabo. Laudans immocabo Deum matronam nos et ab inimicis meis abusero. Sanguis Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet animam tuum. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet animam tuum. Quodori subsumus Deum Iesum Christum finamente capiamus et immunere te praefiat nobis remedium sempiternum. Corpus tuum Deum Iesum Christum quod samse sanguis quam pataviat heliat visceribus meis apraesta. Ut in me non remaniat scelera macula quam pura et sancta reficerunt sacramenta. Deum vobiscum, et quoque pote. Oremus. May the prayer of thy suppliants profit the souls of thy servants and handmaids, we beseech you, O most holy Trinity, that thou mayest free them from all sins and make them sharers in thy redemption, who livest and reignest with thee, one divine family, forever and ever. Deum vobiscum, et quoque pote, ite mises, Deum gratia. placia tibi sancta trinitam obsequium servitudis meae, et praesta ut sacrificium coroculis tuae maestatis in nus autori tibi seta captabile miquiet omnibus, pro quibus idut auctoris iti miserante propitiabile pecoris Deum nostrum. Sanctificat vos omnipotens Deum, Matronam et Filium et Spiritum Sanctum, Deum Matronam nostro et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. O most holy Trinity, I believe, I venerate, I hope, and I love thee. I beg of thee pardon for those who do not believe, do not venerate, do not hope, and do not love thee. Most holy Trinity, Deum Matronam Nostra et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, I venerate thee profoundly, and I offer to thee the most precious body, blood, soul, and divinity of Deum Iesum Christum, present here in reparation for all the outrages, sacrileges, and indifference by which he himself is offended, and through the infinite merits of his most sacred heart and immaculate heart of Deum Matronam Nostrae, I beg of thee the conversion of poor sinners. In nomine Deum Matronam Nostrae et Deum Iesum Christum et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. Thank you for being here. Hello, Peter. How are you? And hello, OL Carmel. You flashed by me. I have to go back and read what you said. But I'm just curious if Peter's going to answer about the Karen thing or not. Let's see now. I'll have to read the past comments to get a gist. Thank you for being here and for strengthening me with your prayers and for really encouraging me to continue. Appreciate all the, and I appreciate mostly your patience with me getting back to you on correspondences, because they're starting to increase the number that I'm getting. And yeah, I did want to say that I had a very heavy heart this morning. There was something that I'm just feeling very dark about, and it's usually indicative of what's happening out in the world. I hope it goes away quickly, and that we can really get the feeling of goodness and peace and freedom and those sorts of feelings that really make us happy and enjoy the world that we're in. Please go and sanctify all those you meet. We'll see you tomorrow at 7:30. And thank you for putting up with the noise. I don't know if you could hear it out there, the engine noise, but that's what goes on here. Have a great day.